Madison Bumgarner is not a name the Rockies want to see when they come to San Francisco. The imposing lefty not only dominates Colorado on the mound, but also at the plate. He's knocked 4 out of the park against the Rockies in his career, the most of any team. Tonight, Bumgarner gets the ball and the bat against the Rockies, and it's next. Night baseball here at AT&T Park as we get ready for Giants baseball, game 2 of this 3-game series, Rockies and Giants. Hi again, everybody. I'm Dwayne Kuiper. Alongside me, as always, is Mike Krukow. Well, the Giants winning yesterday on the 4th of July. Really nice, clean 3-1 win. And they'll look to do the same. And right before the start of this game, Gregor Blanco was scratched. So the Giants have another outfielder that's dinged up. But really, when you think about it, it's still all about Madison Bumgarner.
Well, and it figures to be all about pitching tonight because Madison Bumgarner's opponent tonight, Tyler Chatwood, just off of the disabled list, really handcuffed the Giants earlier this year when we saw the Giants play the Rockies in Colorado. So both guys are throwing the ball well. Both guys have a lot of confidence. Interesting to note the Giants with 53 wins this year, more than anybody. 27 of those wins have been comeback victories, and they had 27 all of last year. So this is a team that really thinks that they're going to win when they go out there, especially when they get behind Bumgarner.
Angel Pagan is back in center field today, and that's where he played yesterday. All right, stay tuned. We'll take you to Willie Mays Plaza for an update from Greg Papa and the old shortstop, Rich Aurelia. We'll do that right after this.
Is brought to you by Jack in the Box. It's back. The Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack. Taste it before it's gone at Jack in the Box. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
Well, you know your San Francisco Giants enjoyed the fireworks show last night after a 4th of July victory, and they're getting set for Game 2 of this 3-game series against the Colorado Rockies. Welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Amy Gutierrez. A different kind of fireworks to talk about tonight, and that is the All-Star selection for the 2016 Midsummer Classic. Who's going for the San Francisco Giants? We're going to give you a look right now. It's our Ford right choice. You got it. Buster Posey voted in by the fans. He's going to start behind the dish. It's his 4th All-Star selection. Tonight, starter Madison Bumgarner gets his 4th straight selection. Johnny Cueto is going to make his 2nd All-Star appearance, and Brandon Belt makes the final vote. Now, he's got some tough competition. He's on a list with Ryan Braun, Jake Lamb, Starling Marte, and Trevor Story. So fans, it is going to be up to you. Here is how you can help Baby Giraffe. You can text N1 or go to sfgiants.com. You know what? I'm sorry, you guys. I screwed up this whole thing. I screwed it all up.
On CSN Bay Area is brought to you by Jack in the Box. It's back. The Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack. Taste it before it's gone at Jack in the Box. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
Well, you know your San Francisco Giants enjoyed the fireworks show last night after a 4th of July victory, and they are getting set for Game 2 of a 3-game series against the Colorado Rockies. Welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Amy Gutierrez. We get to talk about a different kind of fireworks tonight. The 2016 All-Star selections were announced earlier today. Who is going for your San Francisco Giants? We've got it. It's our Ford right choice, Buster Posey. No surprise, he was voted in by the fans. He's going to be starting behind the dish. It is his 4th All-Star selection. Tonight's starter, Madison Bumgarner, gets his 4th straight selection, and Johnny Cueto is going to make his 2nd All-Star appearance, and Brandon Belt makes the final vote selection. He's got tough competition. Ryan Braun, Jake Lamb, Starling Marte, Trevor Story, all on that list. So fans, we need your help. You can help Brandon make the Midsummer Classic a couple of different ways. Go to sfgiants.com/vote, or you can text N1 to 89269. Brandon Belt saying he knows that the Giants fans can rock the vote, but he's excited to be in the running nonetheless. Stay with us. We've got lineups, first pitch, Kruk and Kipe. It's all coming your way, and Madison Bumgarner on the hill.
On CSN Bay Area is brought to you by Jack in the Box. It's back. The Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack. Taste it before it's gone at Jack in the Box. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
Well, you know your San Francisco Giants enjoyed the fireworks show last night after a 4th of July victory, and they are getting set for Game 2 of a 3-game series against the Colorado Rockies. Welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Amy Gutierrez. We get to talk about a different kind of fireworks tonight. The 2016 All-Star selections were announced earlier today. Who is going for your San Francisco Giants? We've got it. It's our Ford right choice, Buster Posey. No surprise, he was voted in by the fans. He's going to be starting behind the dish. It is his 4th All-Star selection. Tonight's starter, Madison Bumgarner, gets his 4th straight selection, and Johnny Cueto is going to make his 2nd All-Star appearance, and Brandon Belt makes the final vote selection. He's got tough competition. Ryan Braun, Jake Lamb, Starling Marte, Trevor Story, all on that list. So fans, we need your help. You can help Brandon make the Midsummer Classic a couple of different ways. Go to sfgiants.com/vote, or you can text N1 to 89269. Brandon Belt saying he knows that the Giants fans can rock the vote, but he's excited to be in the running nonetheless. Stay with us. We've got lineups, first pitch, Kruk and Kipe. It's all coming your way, and Madison Bumgarner on the hill.
It's a cool night as we get ready for game 2 of the series. Our game time weather is presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Hey, get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. 58 degrees here at the yard. Winds are brisk. Humidity at 82%. And it is overcast. Madison Bumgarner taking the field, making his 18th start. Here's the lineup that he'll be facing. It'll be Blackman to lead things off, then LeMahieu, Arenado, and then Carlos Gonzalez. He always has big numbers against Bumgarner. Story, Rayburn, and Reynolds. Hundley will hit 8th, and Chatwood will pitch and hit 9th.
On the hill tonight for the Giants will be the left-hander, Madison Bumgarner, 6'5", 250-pounder. He's 26 years of age, and he's in his 7th year at the big league level. This is what he's done in 17 starts so far this year. 9-4 with a 2.20 ERA, 126 strikeouts and 114 innings against 29 walks. And when you take your at-bats against him, you're going to see a low 3/4 release with a low 90s fastball, natural cut, slider, curveball, and changeup. Against the Rockies lifetime, he's done well. 12-6 with a 3.11 ERA. And what do you say we take a look at the Giants defensively behind Madison Bumgarner tonight? Starting in the outfield from left to right, it'll be Parker, Pagan, and Williamson. Gregor Blanco, a late scratch. Good arms on the corners. Crawford and Gillespie will be on the left side of the infield. Pena and Bell on the right side. Buster Posey, he'll be in the squad, putting down the signs. And right now it's time for our Nissan keys to the game. And one of the matchups that is really one to watch will be Madison Bumgarner against Carlos Gonzalez. Why is that? Gonzalez lifetime hitting .321 with 5 home runs against Bumgarner. That'll be one we watch. And number 2, continued dominance in the National League West. The Giants with 53 victories on the year, 27 of them have come against the National League Western opponents. 27-14 record overall. Those are our Nissan keys to the game.
Rockies have lost 6 straight. Most consecutive All-Star appearances for a Giants pitcher. Lincecum made it consecutive times 4. Bumgarner announced today he made it. Juan Marichal with 8. Here's Charlie Blackmon hitting at .304 with 12 home runs. He's got 42 runs batted in. In at third is Gillespie. And the pitch. And this game gets started with a high fastball. So we get started at 1 minute late. 1 ball and no strikes. LeMahieu on deck. And a base hit. So a little bit of ownage is ownage. And just like that, Bumgarner will be in the stretch to DJ LeMahieu. LeMahieu having a good year, another solid year, .322, 5 home runs. He's got 29 runs batted in. He's a Gold Glover. He has not had a lot of success against Bumgarner. He's only 3 for 26. So Blackmon with 8 steals on the year, and there's a pitch down low, 1 ball and no strikes. LeMahieu yesterday took an 0 for 4. Not a lot of runs yesterday. The Rockies out hit the Giants 6 hits to 5. And Bumgarner with a easy toss to first, keeping an eye on Blackmon. 8 out of 12 for Blackmon when it comes to stealing. Pena, Crawford at double play depth. And a call strike. Hey, that's Carlos Torres calling balls and strikes. It's Drake, Holbrook, and Davis from first to third.
Carlos Torres, you're going to see more high balls called a strike in his strike zone than normal umpires. But I think he's got a pretty good zone. His corners can breathe a little bit. They can be big one inning, small the next. But all in all, I think he's an umpire that is pretty consistent and fair. Hey, the Half Moon Bay girls softball team is here, and they love the Giants. Well, welcome, girls.
2 balls and 1 strike. Arenado on deck. So Bump trying to find his rhythm. It's 3 balls and 1 strike.
And that's the 1 strike he tries to get early in the game. He tries to get that outside corner on a right-handed hitter, and then he sort of stretches it away to see just how far off the plate he'll get. Once he knows where the strike zone is, then he goes back and forth. But early on, he wants to establish that strike away.
Belt holding on Blackmon. So Bumgarner's got to come in. He does. It's 3-2. Now, with the count full, you might see the Rockies send Charlie Blackmon.
pretty good side lead over there at first base from Blackman.
He goes. Swinging a fly ball to right. Williamson will take care of it. Looked like it was pretty dead to right field, didn't it?
It looks like you're hitting an ice cube out to right field right now. The pitch usage for Madison Bumgarner against left-handers, you're going to see a few more fastballs to lefties. The cutter just about the same percentage. More curveballs to righties. And occasionally a changeup, which I think eventually you're going to start to see more and more changeups.
Arenado hitting .290, 22 home runs, 66 driven in, and he takes a strike. He's 7 for 31 against Bumgarner. A couple of doubles, a couple of home runs. And he is an all-star, as you would expect. High and foul. It's 0-2.
That's an impressive strike. And I think a lot of right-handers will look middle in because of the natural movement on the fastball from Bumgarner. He wants to establish the inside corner at the hands to the righties. So down and away, up and in. I mean, those are the two areas that he is so consistent to.
See if Parker or Crawford can get there, and it's going to sail out of play. As Crawford, all three made a big effort. And it stays at 0-2. Brandon Crawford was not selected to the 2016 All-Star team. And it's one of those, oh boy.
Well, we're not happy about it. You know, we get a chance to see him every day, and we think he's one of the elite players in the game. And not make an all-star team, and that's he could still go. Between now and Tuesday, things will happen.
Listen to Crawford. Or he can go like I went in 1981 in Cleveland.
Yeah?
Yeah. Buy seats, and they're behind a pole. So here's Gonzalez.
I do still think that there's a chance that he will get to go. But it was one of the things that really upset us today when we found out that he was not selected. Giants have 3 representatives as it stands now. Buster Posey was voted in. Johnny Cueto and Madison Bumgarner.
Gonzalez, 317. $18 home runs, 51 runs batted in. Four doubles and 5 home runs lifetime against Madison Bumgarner. Swinging and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, those are great numbers. And it kind of jumps off the page because there just aren't that many guys that have those kind of numbers with that type of production against Bumgarner. But his natural fastball cuts away from Carlos Gonzalez, and he's a middle away guy.
Well, Bumgarner's pitching Gonzalez like he knows that Gonzalez has those kind of numbers against him.
Oh, he absolutely knows it.
Blackman led the inning off with a base hit, then a fly ball, then a pop-up.
Hey, the family's here.
Hey, when in doubt, keep your hands warm by putting them in a box of Cracker Jacks. 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Couldn't be happier. Actually, those look pretty good. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Got him, and that'll end the inning. Rockies waste a leadoff single. Giants are coming up. And the lineup for Bruce Bochy will look like this. It will be Pagan, Parker, Belton, and Buster Posey. And you see his lifetime numbers against the Rockies. Very good. Crawford, Gillespie, and Pena. Williamson gets the nod instead of Blanco. And then hitting ninth is Madison Bumgarner.
On the hill tonight for the Colorado Rockies will be the right-hander Tyler Chatwood. And Chatwood just activated off the disabled list today. He had some back spasms, put him on the shelf for a couple weeks. That's what he's done in 14 starts. He's been very good. 8-4 with a 3.15 ERA. We think this guy is the ace of the Rockies. And how does he get you out? You'll see a low to mid-90s fastball. He can sink and cut it. He has got a curveball, slider, and a changeup, and he'll throw all of them at you. And his breaking balls are really good. He's not a big guy particularly. 6 feet tall, 185 pounds, built more like a shortstop than a pitcher. In his 5th year at the big league level. Lifetime against the Giants, 4-3.
Pagan takes wide, hitting .289. Pagan went 2 for 4. Hit a big 2-run home run, the difference in the game yesterday. He's 5 for 20 in his 20 at-bats against Chatwood. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike with Parker to follow. And then Belt. And we get a breeze that comes into this booth. It's cold.
Yeah. It says 54 degrees. Is that what the first pitch was?
Yeah, it's not 54. It's 34. I'm not buying it.
Well, he's dressed appropriately.
Is that Mr. Turbo?
I think it is.
Floyd R?
Floyd R. Turbo.
I love Floyd R. Turbo.
Wearing his hat.
That's a good luck. When you see somebody wearing that hat, it's good luck. Pagan down the left field line and out of play. See, they don't look nearly as cold as we are.
Well, they're not getting the wind we get.
Roll to Reynolds. And he shovels it away. And Pagan's going to go. He's going to have to hurry. And he makes it. And now he's going to put on the brakes. It's a little league double.
Looks like a snowball fight there for a while. All right, let's take a look at it. Looked like a pretty routine play, and watch the flip way out in front of Chatwood, who's a good athlete. And he couldn't do anything with it. And Nick Hundley backing up the play. He one-hops Story, and it goes into the outfield. But there was Charlie Blackwood, who finally backed it up. But
I don't know. Reynolds looked like he thought Chatwood was much taller.
Yeah, and had much longer arms.
Pagan took a risk, but boy, he made it pay off. So here's Parker hitting .267. Overshift is on for Parker, and he takes a strike on the outside corner.
Five home runs, and he hit some long home runs to left field. He's got great power that way.
He's had 1 hit in 3 at-bats in his career starts against Chatwood. Up the middle. It'll be Story throwing off balance and getting Parker, but he gets the job done as Pagan moves to third.
All right, what do you say we take a look at the Colorado Rockies on defense tonight, playing behind Tyler Chatwood, starting in their outfield from left to right. It'll be Rayburn, Blackman, and Gonzalez, and the best arm in right field, Gonzalez. It's one of the elite in the National League. Story, Arenado on the left side of the infield, LeMahieu and Reynolds on the right side. Nick Hundley, he'll be in the squad, putting down the signs.
Here's Belt. Belt will hit with the infield in. And he takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Belt 4 for 17 in his career against Chatwood. It's rare you see an overshift with the infield in. And he's got a base hit, and it's 1-0 Giants. Belt comes through with RBI number 45, so the Giants make the error hurt. Buster Posey at 291. Ten home runs, 40 driven in. And he takes a strike. He's 2 for 14 against Chatwood. And Buster hit his 10th home run of the season yesterday. Rockies led 1-0, and the very next half inning, Buster Posey tied it up. And Belt's going to take off, and he's going to be in scoring position.
Well, right now the Rockies are giving up 90-foot gifts. That's 3 increments of 90 feet that they've handed the Giants. Little two-seamer down the dirt. Hits the thumb of Nick Hundley. Kicks off to the right. A nice read from Brandon Belt to get that jump to take advantage of the wild pitch. Giraffe fan.
Indeed. So Buster got both cheeks into this one yesterday.
Now a high mistake from Tyler Anderson. And that ball stayed hit for a while.
Three and one with Crawford on deck. And the walk.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to take advantage of that open base. But it's nice to have 53 RBIs hitting behind Buster Posey when they decide to pitch around him.
Yeah.
And the table is once again set for Brandon Crawford, who I think quite possibly could be taking a little attitude into the box tonight, being snubbed from the All-Star team.
Absolutely. Overshift is on with Crawford at the plate. No balls and 1 strike on the healthy, and I mean healthy, swing and a miss. Crawford 7 hits and 20 lifetime at bats against Chatwood. Shoots this one high and foul and out of play. Connor Gillespie is on deck.
RBI leader since May 1st. Brandon Crawford in the top 5, tied with David Ortiz. Edwin Encarnacion is just on some other planet. Adam Duvall, who was named an All-Star today, former Giant, 54 RBIs. Congratulations to him.
Crawford goes down swinging. 2 outs, and Gillespie now with a shot. Connor Gillespie has never faced Chatwood before. But you see, Connor Gillespie's got that average up. He was under 200 not that long ago.
I think he was close to being on the bingo card there for a while. Like 090 something.
Now look at him. And the pitch is low. Uh-oh.
Yeah, they're dressed for the occasion.
One and 0 to Gillespie. 2-0 to Gillespie. Romero Pena to follow. Chatwood now with pitch number 21. And a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike. Giants are 5-5 in their last 10 games. They have won 2 straight. They're 25-16 at home. Shoots it up the middle, and LeMahieu on the backhand, and he'll throw him out. So Brandon Belt picks up RBI number 45 on the season. He knocks in Pagan. After 1, it's 1-0 Giants.
CSN Bay Area is brought to you by AAA. Get a free road trip day pack with a AAA insurance quote. Go to AAA.com/road trip or a AAA branch for details. Restrictions apply.
Giants with a 1-0 lead, and it'll be Story, Rayburn, and Reynolds against Bumgarner. And it may be, Mike, that over in the Rockies TV side with Drew and Jeff, they may be saying the same thing about Story that we're saying about Crawford.
Well, I mean, this is a rookie who's had a pretty good argument to go. 19 home runs, 50 RBIs. The absolute talk of baseball the first week. I mean, he opened it up, and in the first week he had 6 home runs.
I think he had more home runs than games played.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure the Rockies are disappointed. However, Trevor Story can still go.
Yeah, he is one of the 5, correct?
That is correct. Brandon Belt, one of the 5. Jake Lamb.
Yeah, so Giants fans, well, the Rockies fans are voting for Trevor Story, so get out there and vote for Belt, as that's foul back.
Ryan Braun is one of the 5 finalists. Yeah. And I forget who the 5th one is.
You want me to tell you, or you want to guess?
No, I'm guessed out.
His manager is Clint Hurdle.
Starling Marte.
That's it.
Nice.
Yeah, way to go. You were all over it.
Well, all those guys I'd like to see in the All-Star game, but I mean, of the 5, the guy I'd like to see most, of course, Brandon Belt.
I'm looking at the list, and it looks like Arenado was the only Rockies selected, as Story strikes out swinging. All right, the D-backs will join us at AT&T Park this weekend, Friday the 8th through the 10th. The Saturday game, the first 20,000 are going to receive either a Cueto or Samardzija jersey, T-shirt, and then Sunday it's, how does John say it? Hello, Kitty. We're giving away Hello Kitty tote bags to the first 20,000 fans. sfgiants.com/tickets. Is that how he says it?
Hello, Kitty.
Hello, Kitty. Oh, it's from Gunsmoke is how he says it.
That's right.
I gotcha.
That's right.
I gotcha. Now that's the perfect baseball cap for that young lady. Perfect.
She's with her dad and her mom.
This is Ryan Rayburn. 1 ball and 1 strike. Oh, there's more to the family.
The whole group's there. They look
yeah.
good.
Rayburn hooks this one foul. It's 1-2. Doesn't he have 2 girls? Is that a little girl? Yep, I think it is. I know one thing. They got him decked out.
They're looking good. Going to the game. Everybody get your gear on. Let's go.
As cute as they can be.
Saddle up.
I think that little girl on the left knows that it was Ken Griffey Jr. that started wearing those baseball caps like that.
Yeah. No, I don't think she does yet, but maybe someday she will.
Rayburn hitting .237. He's got a healthy cut. Just like that. Bumgarner strikes him out, and let's check in with Amy G.
All right, gentlemen. Well, skipper Bruce Bochy announcing before tonight's game he does not expect any Giants on the disabled list to be activated before the break, but we've got updates on a couple of fan favorites. Hunter Pence doing all baseball activities, very close to a rehab assignment. That announcement should come this weekend. And Matt Duffy took BP for the first time today. He's been dealing with a sore Achilles. He's also taking grounders. He's feeling much, much better, and he started running on a treadmill. Good news for Matt Duffy, guys.
I watched him today. He looks like he did before he got hurt.
Well, that's good. I mean, nobody's going to get back into active duty till after the All-Star break, but they're all going to start coming back.
In tight, 2 balls and no strikes.
And that includes Hunter Pence. We're getting really good news about him as well.
Reynolds goes around. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. 284, 8 home runs, 33 runs batted in. See, how did he do yesterday? 1 for 4. Backdoored him, 3-1.
He really has been on the corners. And he's doing it with all of his pitches. And that's the thing where I see the growth from Bumgarner and the consistency in his mechanics that allows him to go in and out with everything.
Full count. He's had 4 hits in 11 at bats against Bumgarner. So the walk to Reynolds, and that'll bring up Nick Hundley. Hundley hitting .237, 4 home runs, 17 runs batted in. Hundley yesterday picked up a hit in 3 at bats. Oh yeah. They found out they were on TV.
Hey, we're on TV, Dad. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see.
This little one, though, is a handful.
That's her job.
That is her job. She's the little sister. There's a call strike to Hundley.
Yeah, she's going to go right into the next row here real quick.
She may be sitting on that guy's lap in front of her. That guy. Oh. That's the little girl that's usually sitting in front of you on the plane.
Yep.
Or next to you.
Yeah, well, they're the entertainment on that particular ride.
One ball and 1 strike to Nick Hundley. Out of play. A natural assumption is to think that he would be related to Randy Hundley. Really a good catcher with the Chicago Cubs, but no relation.
Played with Randy. Randy Hundley did have a son in the big leagues, Todd Hundley.
Yep.
And he's a good player.
I think Todd is one of the guys that a visitor that has put one in the Cove.
Nick Hundley's father, a former football coach, college football coach. When we first met him, he was a football coach at UCLA, and he's finally retired now.
Probably watching his son take this at bat. The 2-2 pitch. Rolled foul.
But it's good to see Hundley, Nick Hundley, back in action. I mean, he was a guy that earlier this year, they got hit in the mask and had a concussion, and he went through the protocol, and it kept him off the active roster for a while. And this guy's tough as nails. I mean, he's one of those guys that he'll play hurt, not a problem. That's part of his game, but that's one he couldn't shake off. It's good to see him back in action. After what we witnessed with Mike Matheny and how his career was cut short with concussions, I just don't like to see it happen. And right now, Joe Panik is trying to get back active because of concussion symptoms.
Three and 2 with Chatwood on deck, and Chatwood's a guy that can hit a little bit. Runner goes, swinging a bouncing ball foul right into the Giants dugout. Johnny Cueto got dinged. Come on, Johnny.
It's dangerous sitting on that bench. Don't be messing with tomorrow night's starter.
No, it's the hottest job to protect him. It's an all-star.
Let's go, Ruben. Seriously.
Runner goes, got him, and that's going to end the inning. Hits the breaking ball, and Bumgarner strikes out the side. Pena's going to lead things off.
Area is brought to you by Casino Matrix, Silicon Valley's best bet for gaming, food, and fun 24/7.
Well, the Giants Insider Podcast is live on csnbayarea.com. You can log on each week as Insider Alex Pavlovich talks baseball with players, coaches, special guests, and more. It's also available on iTunes. Check it out. He's good.
Who? I don't travel, Alex Pavlovich?
Yeah, he used to travel. Whoa, what's up with that? He took a town off.
Yeah. Here's Pena. It'll be Pena, Williamson, and Bumgarner. Pena takes a pitch down low. Immediately made an impact with the Giants when he got called up. He's 15 for 36. Had the game winner on Sunday in extra innings, a double down the right field line as a pinch hitter. Good breaking ball, 1-2.
Well, that game winner came in a pinch hit roll. I mean, he had his ankle sort of bent sideways and had a slight sprain in a collision he had with Mac Williamson in the Oakland series. It kind of put him on the shelf for a while. Good to see him back in the lineup.
Two and two. This was the hit that won it on Sunday. Giants needed it.
A little breaking ball, raked it down the line, and Jarrett Parker scored all the way from first. And the Giants would win it by 1.
Pena stays alive. We found out that Parker can stretch it out just a little bit. Witness protection.
Yeah. I don't recognize him.
Here's the 2-2. Could be your neighbors.
Could be.
Could be our neighbor.
This is not their first game. That much we can tell you.
Uh-oh. The Pavelski sighting. Down the left field line. How about this? Foul.
Almost a thing. Jerry Davis, third base umpire. He was right there. Almost hit him in the foot. Yep, test that bat. See if it's any good.
Could be Ted and Mary.
Could be. The Robinsons? Yeah.
They just blew their cover. Driven into center field, hit well. Blackman on the move, and Blackman's going to reach up and put it away. Greater coverage of baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. Yesterday against the Rockies. Mark Reynolds. That's a base hit. No, it's not. Mac Williamson with a diving catch in the 7th.
Well, Jake Peavy was loving every bit of it. And what a day for Jake Peavy as he would pick up that win. Earned it.
Big Mac with a hard swing and a miss. No balls and 1 strike. Bumgarner to follow. We're in the bottom of the 2nd. Pitch is wide.
Well, he's going to swing at 1 cutter. Go out there and tease him again with another one.
On the ground to short. Story to Reynolds. Here's Bumgarner.
A look from the view level here at the ballpark across the field from the right field side. It's really a great view, obviously, but you can see everything. Bay Bridge, Treasure Island, Cubby Cove, the Port Walk, the arcade, and even some of the buildings as you look back into the city.
When Bumgarner came to the plate, Hundley and him got involved in quite a long conversation. And I bet it was when Hundley stepped out. It may not have been Hundley's fault. It could have been the umpire. But whatever it was, as Bum likes to do, let's get it ironed out.
Well, and he will iron it out. But if they were teammates, they'd probably be hanging with one another. So
probably would. Three and 1. And the walk.
So I didn't want any part of him. So Bumgarner, 2-out walk, run the pitch count up.
Pagan reached on an error and then eventually scored.
All right, time now for our Togos big play the Togos way. Yesterday against the Rockies, Angel Pagan had a 2-run homer off Tyler Anderson. That came in the bottom of the 3rd. It gave the Giants a 3-run lead, and that would be all they would need. The Pagan homer number 4 on the year. And it really kind of surprised all of us because off the crack of the bat, we just didn't think that it had the look that you normally see on a ball that gets hit out of this ballpark. Usually, it's got to be hit pretty good, but he kind of clicked that one, backspinned it right out.
Bumgarner with his lead. Very high, 2 balls and 1 strike. If anything, Bumgarner gets pitches out of Chatwood, and now he's got to face Pagan.
Exactly. I mean, you want to be 30 pitches or less after the second inning is over, so you get an idea of just how far over the 30 pitches he is. And with a guy like Chatwood, who's coming off the disabled list, one thing, if you're the Rockies, you don't want to see him get into long innings. You don't want to see him get into high pitch counts. And they will handle him with kid gloves tonight. It's a cool night. And as we mentioned, he's just getting out the DL where he had some back spasms that put him on the DL.
Three and two, and now Bumgarner will take off. Reynolds playing behind Bumgarner. He goes, and Pena is going to, or make that Pagan is going to just get a piece. Three and two. Got him. And that'll end the inning. After two, Giants won. Rockies nothing.
Giants baseball on CSN Bay Area is brought to you by First 5 California. Talk, read, sing. It changes everything.
Well, Madison Bumgarner in the second inning winds up striking out the side. He got Trevor Story, high cutter, Ryan Rayburn, same pitch lower to sights, and then he got Nick Hundley in a curveball and a 3-2 count to end things. 1-0 Giants. We're in the top of the third.
And it'll be Tyler Chatwood to lead things off, and Chatwood takes a strike.
And as you pointed out earlier, I mean, Chatwood can swing the bat.
Yeah, he's a pretty good hitter. Hit up the middle. Crawford. The belt.
Lifetime against the Colorado Rockies, Madison Bumgarner. On the road, he's 5-5. At home, 7-1. And here in the friendly confines, AT&T, 2.17 ERA. So you put them all together, he's 12-6.
Here's Blackman, who opened up the game with a base hit. In at third is Gillespie, just thinking maybe Blackman might lay down a bunt. Big curveball.
Let's take a look at the motion. You see the low 3/4 release. Watch the big upper body turn right there, and then he comes at you. You don't see that hand very early in his delivery.
Hit out to right for Mac Williamson. Mac puts it away.
That Exmo was brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. But it does give you a real good look at just how late in his delivery he shows the ball to the hitter. And that has everything to do with his success. Deception is good. And it's not deception that's going to hurt his arm.
LeMahieu hit a fly ball to Williamson in the first. Giants scored in the first. Belt with an RBI single. Strikes this one to center field. Pagan spins around. He's back, and it's off the bottom of the wall. And heading into second base is DJ LeMahieu with a two-bagger.
Yeah, just an example of the importance of backspin. He catches the bottom half of this ball, and the natural carry that's in this ballpark. And it's been this way since the very first day. If you hit a ball to center field, you're going to get some help. The backspin and push, I mean, you really have to say you're lucky it didn't get out of the ballpark, because he hit that ball right on the screws. One hops the wall. And the significance of that is that now he has to face Arenado with a runner in scoring position.
Arenado popped up in the first inning. First pitch down low, 1 ball and no strikes.
Hunter Pence has joined the game as best he can. Not easy for him to watch a game that he's not playing in.
Down low.
But we're thinking that his disabled list is going to be coming to a conclusion here in the next couple weeks. Talking with Eli Whiteside.
Three and 0.
And Arenado will have the green light, in case you're wondering.
And the walk. Gonzalez struck out in the first inning. So LeMahieu at second, Arenado at first. You're going to miss. No balls and 1 strike.
Pounding that outside corner with a cut fastball. I mean, he's had 3 swing throughs on that pitch. This is a guy we said was one of our keys. The matchup between Bumgarner and Gonzalez. 5 lifetime home runs against Bumgarner.
On the ground towards the hole. And Crawford's going to keep it on the infield. And now the bases are loaded. So totally away from the way the Giants had him defended. So Gonzalez picks up a hit. And that'll bring up Trevor Story.
It really would have been pretty much the straightaway shortstop position had the Giants set him up in a straightaway. They were not. They played a pull. just on the thumb of Gillespie. Not to matter, even if he comes with that cleanly, he's not going to get a throw off. But Crawford did the one thing he had to do, and that stopped him from going left field. That saved a run.
So here's Story. High, 1 ball and no strikes. Trying to get Story to chase, maybe be a little over eager with the bases loaded. But Story did not bite. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Long run for Mac Williamson. I don't think he's going to get there. He slides and he makes the catch. Unbelievable. Mac Williamson saves 3 runs. What a play. And Bumgarner says, yes, thank you very much.
Brought to you by Heffernan Insurance Brokers. Insurance and financial services for you and your business. Visit hefins.com.
So here's Parker. Parker takes a ball, 1 ball and no strikes. Everybody settling down after the great play by Mac Williamson. This is hit on the ground right to LeMahieu. And Parker's retired.
Well, the play by Mac Williamson really energized everybody here, including the Giants bench. I mean, you're talking about taking away 3 runs. Because with 2 outs, everybody had a good jump. I don't know how he got over to make this play. And he makes a beautiful play sliding into the wall. And that hug right there, Madison Bumgarner meant.
Here's Belt. Yeah, you got to be careful when Bumgarner gives you a hug. He could take 2 ribs with you.
Well, if there's anybody equipped to withstand the hug of Bumgarner, it's Mac Williamson.
Yeah, they're 2 pretty big fellas hitting back-to-back in the lineup.
He's 6'4", 235. Bumgarner's 6'5", 250.
One and one to Belt, who has the only RBI in this game. Sneaks that one past them. It's 1-2.
Yeah, just a look at the reaction. You better hang on.
Belt takes low and away. No swing. Buster Posey on deck.
Jerry Davis, the crew chief at third base tonight, saying no swing. I thought that was an excellent call, Jerry. That a bit.
Jerry, Mike agrees with you. Belt rolls it foul. Well, this is where Jake Peavy gave Mac Williamson a hug.
Well, that was yesterday, and it was one of two incredible plays behind Jake Peavy, and you saw what it did to him. Fired him up.
Line drive, base hit, left field. Well, we see the Buster hugs. It's kind of working in reverse here with Mac Williamson. Here's Buster.
Nice opposite field at bat for Brandon Belt. Always a plus when you can get Buster up there in that batter's box with a pitcher in a stretch position.
Down low, had a nice maybe 35-40 minute function with Buster Posey today on the top of the visitors dugout. Buster purchased 1,000 gloves for some of the junior Giants kids that don't have gloves. Pitches down low.
Well, those gloves he bought for the kids, they're good gloves.
Three 3-0 to Buster Posey. And a strike. I pleaded with Buster that I didn't have a glove, so he gave me one, and these are the gloves that he handed out, and they're pretty good.
Yeah, they really are. Just that to a kid's size. It's really built for a small hand. It's got really pliable leather. Really easy for a young ball player to break in. And
yeah, it really doesn't take much to break those in.
I mean, it's just they're almost like they are pre-broken in.
Right.
But there it is.
So anyway, 1,000 of those. And Amy G's going to do a little hit on that later on as Belt goes, and it's in the dirt. Ball full to Posey. All right, let's check in with Amy. Amy.
All right, guys, we're talking about Buster Posey and some gloves, and earlier today it was the glove giveaway from Buster Posey. More than 1,000 junior Giants got to come into the park early and listen to our own Dwayne Kuiper host the event and have a Q&A with Buster Posey. Renell Brooks-Moon helping out. And Mike, I don't know if you heard this yet, because Dwayne opened the event saying that he was Mike Krukow, and people didn't know the difference. You guys are totally interchangeable. It was a great event. Dwayne, you did a great job. Buster, all-star player, all-star person.
Yeah,
gotta love it.
It was awesome. Here's Crawford, and Crawford takes high. Yeah, I said, hey, we're one and the same, so yeah, all right, I am Mike. But my favorite question came from a little guy, probably 7 years old. He asked Buster a question. He said, hi, my name is Mac from Sacramento, and I would like to know how your parents met.
What'd you tell him?
No, not my parents, Buster's parents. And Buster said, I know they went to college together, and I don't want to know anymore.
That's it.
And that was the next. But he was great. Crawford on the ground, and Reynolds will take it to the bag, moving Belt and Posey up 90 feet. A lot of questions, though. You know, what do you eat before the game? And Buster tailored his questions or his answers to the audience he had. He said, look, I like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich an hour or so before I go out and play. Chicken cordon bleu would not have worked the audience very well, I don't believe.
No, they can relate to peanut butter and jelly.
Gillespie on the ground to second. So the Giants are going to strand 2 in scoring position, and we will head to the 4th. It remains 1-0 Giants. From Jake Peavy on his 4th of July performance yesterday. Anytime you're walking off the field and you've done your job to the best of your ability and the results are there, you're excited. I love it when fans show support. It feels a whole lot better than it did walking off the mound with some of the stuff being said early in the year. That was when he was removed from the game and has walked back into the dugout after Bruce Bochy took him out, and the fans gave him a great ovation.
Yeah, those are the things you remember as a player, even when you've retired.
Ryan Rayburn will bat first. And he takes a strike. Rayburn 0 for 1. Struck out in the second. Wraps this one to Gillespie at third. And Gillespie to Belt. 1 out.
Here's the walk off the field from Jake Peavy, and everybody gave him a standing ovation. Tip of the cap. And that is music to your ears. All the way into the handshake ceremony in the dugout. He was fantastic yesterday.
Reynolds walked in the second. Pops this one up. Belt doing the pop-up dance, and he'll hang in there and put it away. Tony Slicehouse.
I want to get that.
I'm only going by what my son says. Best he's had. Huge pieces.
Yeah, you don't get cheated on the piece.
And you know who else gives full stamp of approval?
Who's that?
Joe Panic. And you know where Joe's from.
Joe's from New York.
Joe knows his pizza. Here's Hundley. I'm kind of hungry.
I am now. I was doing fine till I saw that.
Ponies. On the ground, Gillespie on the backhand. He will throw, and Belt hangs on, and that's going to end the inning. 5 pitches, all strikes. You're going for the deep dish. Hey, anything will do as far as I'm concerned.
Telecast is presented by authority of the San Francisco Giants and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of San Francisco Baseball Associates, LLC.
Well, NBC Bay Area investigates to hold the powerful accountable, and now it's expanding its resources to help solve your consumer problems. Introducing NBC Bay Area Responds, a new team dedicated to investigating your consumer complaints and returning your money. Contact 1-888-996-TIPS or visit NBCBayArea.com/response. Every call, every email will be answered. NBC Bay Area, we investigate.
So Romero Pena is going to lead things off. Pena may have hit the best ball of the night, and it was tracked down by Blackman in deep center field, and he drives one to right. Gonzalez going back, and he's going to reach up and make the catch. Pena, no breaks for Romero Pena tonight.
He's hitting the ball on the nose both times, one to center, this one to right, just jumping on the first fastball. And the Rockies had him played right. For Gonzalez, really makes it look easy. And you know, the last couple of days we just haven't seen a lot of carry to right field.
No.
Tonight is just it's good luck trying to hit it out there.
Mac Williamson, who takes a strike.
Although Mac Williamson can do it.
Yeah, he might. Bounced out to short. He's 0 for 1. Madison Bumgarner on deck. Struck right at the center fielder Blackman. 2 outs.
There has never been a ball hit into McCovey Cove by a right-handed hitter. And since this ballpark opened up, 46 home runs have been hit to the right field side by right-handers. Just doesn't happen very often.
Swinging a foul back. There's the challenge.
That was the challenge. That was the one right there.
Outside to Bumgarner, who drew a walk in the second. And a call strike with Pagan to follow.
He's ready for deer season.
And Bumgarner out swinging, and that's going to end the inning. Through 4, 1-0 Giants.
Fans vote for Brandon Belt as the final National League All-Star from your mobile device. Text N1 to 89269 to cast your vote for Brandon Belt. That's N1, N is in Nancy 1 to 89269. Message and data rates will apply. You can, and the voting ends at 1 p.m. Pacific time this Friday. So you've got to vote now. Let's get Brandon Belt into San Diego for the All-Star team. That's the goal.
That's the goal. Chatwood, Blackman, LeMahieu, 5th inning. And the pitch is high and away to Chatwood. Hit a bouncing ball to Crawford in the 3rd inning. And scored in the 1st. And that's all the scoring. Chatwood hits a fly ball down the right field line. And this one's going to be out of play.
Yep, Mac Williamson, you needed a ticket to catch that one, big boy. Not that he didn't try now. And there's the winner of the foul ball lottery. Hey, babe.
One pitch. Good swing by Chatwood. You can see that he has in his career swung the bat. It's 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Every once in a while, you're really reminded of Candlestick Park, and tonight is kind of like that night.
Well, pop-ups yesterday, and the sun, and the wind, and this a night game. You're absolutely right.
Still, no wrappers blowing across the field, and no dirt blowing into the dugouts.
On the ground to Crawford on the backhand. He's got it. He sets. He throws. 1 out. I don't even know if that's a good play now, or if that's just an average play by him.
Well, he makes plays that are difficult look easy. I mean, that's just what he does. I mean, he'll look at you. If you say that's a great play, he'll look at you like something's wrong with you.
Here's Blackman. I'm going to say that was a pretty good play.
It was.
Blackman is single and he's popped out. And he takes a first pitch strike. Popped him up. Crawford backpedaling, but Pagan says he's got it, and he does. Well, here's LeMahieu. LeMahieu doubled over Pagan's head in the third inning.
Yeah, that was a 2-out base hit too.
Yeah, it ended up that inning the Rockies loaded the bases. And it was the great play by Mac Williamson down the right field line that saved 3 runs. Not 1 or 2, but 3.
Take a look at that play you're talking about, Kai. Remember now, it's 2 outs. Everybody had a great jump off the crack of the bat. They were playing Trevor Story more towards the left center field gap or right center field gap than straight away right. So Williamson had to go a long way. Second day in a row, he's come up with a sensational play that has really been a game saver.
Three and 1 to LeMahieu. 3 and 2.
LeMahieu was a tall hitter, 6'3". Really outstanding approach to right field for a right-handed hitter. A lot of his hits go that way.
And a base hit into right field.
I like that.
So LeMahieu 2 for 3. And here's Arenado. Arenado has popped out and he's walked. The only difference between this inning and the third inning, LeMahieu was at second base with 2 outs. Here in the 5th, he's at first base. There's a foul right below us, and it's no balls and 1 strike.
Hey, you had a glove on. I appreciate that. That was your job.
I cannot lie. I was ducking as fast as I could.
Well, we've never had one come into the booth here, ever.
Down the right field line again. Is this fair or foul? It's a foul ball.
That's when you're running down the baseline and you can see what that ball's doing. Yeah. You're begging for that slice to stay in fair territory. And sometimes that baseball just won't listen to you.
Into right. Williamson, side retired. Giants lead 1-0. He can hit.
For the 5th inning, and that means it's time for the NorCal Acura Grand Slam giveaway on CSN. And today, Leota Woods, you will win an Acura MDX if a Giants player hits a Grand Slam this inning. So go to AcuraNorCalDealers.com for more information on how to enter. So Leota Woods, good luck. We're rooting for you.
Top of the order for the Giants. And Pagan will take a pitch outside. Pagan is 0 for 2. He did score a run in the first inning, and it's the only run in the game.
And this is pretty much what Chatwood did against the Giants his last outing in Colorado. I mean, he carved him up. Just didn't have that many balls that were hit hard. And we're talking in Coors Field.
Driven to right. Gonzalez is going to watch this one, and it is off the bricks, and it bounces away from Gonzalez. Pagan headed to third, and that's where he'll end up. Gonzalez almost got the carom, which would have saved 90 feet.
It might have held him to a single because with his arm, it might have stopped Pagan in his tracks. Hanging breaking ball right at the middle of the strike zone. And Pagan goes down there, gives it a ride. Now watch the carom come off the bricks. Just over the glove, and that allowed Pagan to take an extra bag. And right here, he's thinking, all right, I got a chance for 3.
No, you're right. He did slow down a little bit, thinking that Gonzalez may have caught the carom. Parker has bounced out twice. And he takes high, 1 ball and no strikes.
Chatwood going to pitch for the strikeout here. That cut fastball really has given Parker some fits tonight against Chatwood. And the Pagan salute. Bruce Bochy likes leadoff triples in 1-run ball games.
And he's a military guy, coach.
Yeah.
3-0.
That's the problem about being in the strikeout mode. You start throwing your strikeout pitches up there, and if a guy takes them, boom, you can get into a 2-0, 3-0 count in a hurry, and that's what's happened here. Parker looking down at Roberto Kelly. I don't know if he got the take sign.
And the walk as the bullpen starts to move around for the Rockies.
So Gonzalez Germain starting to get heated up for the Rockies. Saw the right-hander in yesterday's ball game. That's going to take a guy a few extra throws tonight. It's cool.
Belt is 2 for 2. He's got an RBI.
So Steve Foster, the pitching coach for the Rockies, going to come out, kill a little time. Remember, Tyler Chatwood came off the disabled list today. He'd been on the shelf for 2 weeks. He'd had back spasms. So I'm not sure how far they're going to extend him here. His next pitch he'll throw will be number 80. And a lot of those throws have been out of the stretch. A lot of throws in the first, a lot of throws in the third.
The pitch to Belt, and Belt takes high. 1 ball and no strikes. One and 0 to Belt. Belt out of play.
Two-hit night for Belt. One went back up the middle on a broken bat. The other one, he went the opposite way. What do we have here in Los Angeles? Manny Machado hanging, breaking ball, 3-run homer. And the Orioles have a 3-run lead.
Belt takes a strike. It's 1 and 2. Bruce Bochy's not happy.
Well, from Bochy's perspective, it looks low. I haven't seen many low strikes like that tonight. Carlos Torres more of a high ball probably than a low ball guy.
Belt swings and misses. Pagan scores. It's 2-0.
Another 90-foot gift. That really has been the difference in this game. The Rockies have been very charitable. Slider that just goes right between the wickets of Nick Hundley.
Well, I wrote down wild pitch. It may not be.
It may be a pass ball. You're right. So indeed, you're right. A pass ball.
So here's Buster Posey. Buster with a big swing and a miss. He's walked twice in this game. This will be pitch number 85 for Chatwood. Rolls it foul, third base line, and we'll reset and do it again. Out of play. Club level.
95-mile-an-hour fastball. That's been the highest velocity tonight from Chatwood. No surprise you see it at 2-strike count.
On the ground to second. So Posey's retired. Parker moves to third. And here's Crawford. Crawford is struck out and he's bounced out to first. Center field, but right there is Story, and that's going to end the inning. Giants score a run. We'll head to the sixth. It's 2-0 Giants.
McDonald's True Stories. We go back to July 5th, 1987. And on this day in 1987, Kevin Mitchell played his first game as a Giant. It was at Wrigley Field. Mitchell had 2 home runs, both off Les Lancaster, and both were 2-run shots. Giants won that ball game 7-5.
Didn't have his name.
He was the mystery guy.
He was number 9.
Mitchell to the Giants. Giants from the Padres got Mitchell, Dave Dravecky, and Craig Lefferts. The Padres got Chris Brown, Keith Comstock, Mark Davis, and Mark Grant. So how many guys have hit 2 home runs in their Giants debut? Well, Bob Elliott did it in 1952. Kevin Mitchell and Mark Lewis.
Mark Lewis, a good player for the Giants that year.
Yeah, he was. He came over the same year that the Giants got Jeff Kent, JT Snow.
Jose Vizcaino. Foul back. It's 1-2.
Giants went to the playoffs that year.
I think people forget that Kevin Mitchell, when he was a young player with the Mets, came up as a shortstop. High, 2-2.
Well, he was on that '86 Mets World Champion team.
Yes, he was.
And he went to the Padres, and we got him in '87 and went right back to the playoffs. Without Kevin Mitchell, we don't get to the playoffs.
Three and 2. Got him. All right, let's check in with Amy G.
All right, guys, it's time for our Giants in the Community. It is brought to you by PG&E, and before tonight's game, we all got to witness a first. 7 students won college scholarships as part of the Bay Area All-Star Scholarship Team Program. Check this out. Giants, Warriors, A's, Raiders, Niners, Earthquakes, Sharks, say that 3 times fast, all gave $5,000 scholarships to the following kids: Luis Mendoza, Michelle Larson, Marcos Gonzalez, Chelsea Young, Amy Waite, Serena Chen, and Mahala Rutland. Congratulations. Enjoy. $5,000. That helps mom and dad. Guys.
That's a good story. Absolutely. Trevor Story is 0 for 2. And here it's 2 balls and no strikes. Three and 0.
Bumgarner not happy. He knows with a 2-0 lead, that's not the time to issue a walk, not even to a guy with power. You have to make him swing the bat. And that's the beauty of having that second run tacked on last inning for the Giants. You got a mulligan.
3 balls and 1 strike. Rayburn on deck. On the ground, foul. So it's now 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Starts of 5+ innings, the longest active streak. Jake Arrieta with 54. Madison Bumgarner right on his tail at 48. Masahiro Tanaka and Jose Fernandez. Pretty much when they walk out there, you're going to get at least 5 out of them.
Struck well to center field. Pagan back at the wall, and he makes the catch. Not in this park.
Well, he just got AT&T'd. And Colorado, that's.
Oh, you're doing a dance around second.
Just a challenge, and that's the beauty of being able to throw that pitch with the 2-run lead and a guy who's got 19 home runs. When he left the batter's box, he's thinking, I got 20, because he hits this ball well. And Angel Pagan says, no, not tonight.
Rayburn takes a strike.
And he's measuring, and the reaction, can't believe it.
1 ball and 1 strike. Tonight, it just gives you an example how this ballpark is just polar opposite of Coors Field.
Oh, it really is. And that's why you talk about Pagan's home run that he hit yesterday. You just don't see balls like that get out of here ever. And he hit a 2-run homer. It kind of looked like a Coors Field homer, like he didn't get all of it. Here, you got to get all of it plus about another half on a night like tonight.
2-2. "95 pitches.
All right. You want to be 90 at the end of 6 or less. It's a little high.
Got him. And that'll end the inning. 6 strikeouts for Bumgarner. Giants are coming up. Gillespie is going to lead things off.
CSN Bay Area is brought to you by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places. By Kelly Moore Paints, celebrating 70 years as your neighborhood paint store. By Xfinity, X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience TV.
Well, check out this summer's family special events. Awesome giveaways are connected with our annual programs, Lego and Peanuts events, and of course the long-standing fan favorite Pixar Day, sponsored by Monterey Bay Aquarium. sfgiants.com/special events. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change tune-up and smog experts. It's Jordan Lyles.
So we'll take a look at the numbers for Jordan Lyles. This is the 10th game that he has come into, and Lyles 16 strikeouts with 14 walks, which is the concern of the Rockies. And when you get in the batter's box and you face Lyles, you're going to see a fastball that's mid-90s and a curveball.
Giants are seeing somebody up in their bullpen. Gillespie has bounced out to second twice. Here he pops this one playable down the left field line. Everybody in the Giants bullpen is going to scurry, and a nice running catch by Rayburn.
Well, Giants fans, it's now easier than ever to catch more Giants baseball in your area by tuning into NBC Bay Area on Channel 11 over the air or on Xfinity Cable 3 and 703. Check it out and tell a friend.
So Barnes is in left field, so that must be a double switch. Instead of bogus information, we got late information. Here's Pena. Pena's hit the ball hard twice. He's got nothing to show for it.
He really has barreled too. Lyles will also throw a slider and a curveball. He's a 4-pitch guy. There really isn't anybody coming out of that Rockies bullpen that isn't a mid-90s or above type fastball guy.
Lyles is also the guy that struck Ryan Vogelsong in the face. Doesn't make him a bad guy, but that's what happened. At the knees, it's 3-1. Overshift is on now for Pena. And he hits it right to where Story had moved to. So that'll go 6-3. And here's Williamson. Mac Williamson is 0 for 2. His best at bat came in the 4th inning. He hit a line drive to the center fielder Blackman. And here he taps this one foul.
Don't get cheated. Get up there and swing hard.
Take some heavy rips.
Absolutely. I mean, and as strong as he is, I mean, he doesn't have to pure it to get it out of here.
Madison Bumgarner on deck. And they're going to say Bumgarner went around, or make that Mac Williamson went around.
All right, let's take a look. Did he go around? It's borderline. It's half and half country. Half you get, half you don't. But hey, Rob Drake, first base umpire, thought you did. That's all that counts.
That's the one that counts. Two and two.
It's a good 1-2 pitch right there. Rockies really take Charlie Blackmon in center field. They move him out towards right center field. They pinch the gap in Triples Alley. And that surprises me a bit with what we know about Williamson.
Williamson off his foot. It stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. See Tejada moving around with a bat. It's 2 and 2. And a full count. So good take. Williamson, a high pop-up foul down the right field line and out of play. It gives you an idea of the healthy rip that he can take.
Well, I mean, that's how you want to see him swing with 2 strikes. He should be, I mean, an 0-2 count, 2-0 count, it should be the same swing. Try and do some damage. That's why you could, you overlook a high strikeout total with guys with power. And it's a good at bat. But you don't normally say that to a pitcher, but Madison Bumgarner, you absolutely do.
Bumgarner walked in the second and then struck out in the fourth. And a strike.
90-mile-an-hour little cutter. Perfect location on the 1-0 pitch. That's respectful. So that happens. Bumgarner's got 2 home runs, one of which is against Clayton Kershaw. Second time he's done that. The whole league took notice because they just nibble, 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 and nibble some more.
So it's 2 and 1. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Trying to yank that one into the players' parking lot, which is right behind the Coke bottle in left field. Yep, he was trying to clear the Coke bottle.
Williamson scurries back.
Hundley and Bumgarner have had a dialogue going on the whole night.
They have. So it's 3 and 2. Now Matt Williamson will take off. He goes. Bumgarner takes high. Strike to end the inning. 7th inning coming up. Our Toyota game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealer.
A pitcher comparison tonight between Tyler Chatwood and Madison Bumgarner. Really not a lot of hits allowed. Tyler Chatwood gave up 3 hits in 5 innings. Bumgarner 4 hits in 6 innings. 6 strikeouts against 2 walks for Bumgarner. 4 and 4 for Chatwood. And in the end, the Giants hanging on to a 2-0 lead as we head to the top of the 7th.
So Contos, the new pitcher. And he's facing Mark Reynolds. And a strike. When it's time for a change, think Speedy. Oil change and auto service, your oil change tune-up and smog experts.
So George Contos coming into his 30th game. Good body of work as we are just a little bit past the halfway point of the season. 2.59 ERA. Spent a little time on the disabled list with a little elbow problem, but has come off the DL, and I think he's starting to really feel all of his pitches again. Low 90s fastball with 2 types of movement: slider, curveball, changeup.
Two balls and a strike. Hundley on deck. Lopez in the bullpen. Tap foul, 2-2.
It's amazing that the difference in the swing of Mark Reynolds now than when we first saw him come up to the big leagues with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, he has taken so much swing out. And it's reflected in his batting average. I mean, he's hitting 284 coming into tonight's ball game.
And a base hit to right field.
And that's something else we see him doing, making 2-strike adjustments going to right field. 3 times in his career he's struck out over 200 times in a season, and another time he had 196. But now he's cut the strikeouts down. He's taken swing out, and that was a good at bat.
So here's Hundley. Hundley walked in the 2nd, and then he popped out in the 4th. And a first pitch strike, and it's 0-1. Blocked by Buster Posey to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. One ball and 1 strike. On deck is Barnes. Giants lead 2-0. Understatement to say they've made the most out of their 3 hits. Two balls and 1 strike.
Now the difference in this ball game so far tonight has been the 90-foot gifts that the Rockies have handed the Giants. Errors and wild pitches and pass balls, walks, it is all added up, and that's really was what put the first run on the board. This becomes a pitch that Contos has to make now. 2-0 lead. I mean, you can't issue base on balls here. You have to make guys swing. And Hundley's in the driver's seat. He's a good mistake hitter, likes the ball up.
Bounces this one foul, so it's now 3-2. It's not likely you're going to see Reynolds go, as that ball ended up in the right spot.
High five. Nice going. Yep. Good play. Mom is psyched. And as always, she's got the camera ready.
3-2. Reynolds at first, nobody out. 7th inning. Santos at the belt. Reynolds goes. Swinging a roller, foul.
Pounding that low part of the zone with sinkers, trying to get that ground ball that gets a couple outs.
Reynolds at first. And they'll check on Reynolds. Does not have a steal.
Authentic fan. You can just tell.
Santos ready. 3-2. Runner goes. Base hit up the middle. Pagan is going to throw, and making it easily is Reynolds. And Dave Righetti's coming out. So the hitter will be Barnes.
Well, and Santos is going to face Barnes. I mean, he's the right-handed hitter, so probably going to be his last hitter in this sequence, with Javier Lopez loose and ready in the Giants bullpen, and Charlie Blackmon, the left-handed hitter, on deck. And you're talking about situation, how you're going to pitch him. Two-seam fastballs, hard sliders, go get him. Barnes has pretty good speed. Not an easy guy to double up.
Barnes 1 for 3 lifetime.
Corey Guerin joins Javier Lopez. And he's thinking about DJ LeMahieu.
And a bunt, and it's foul.
You know, and you see a guy like Barnes who has good speed bunt like that, you have to wonder if that was a sign given to him by Walt Weiss, or if that's something he did on his own.
Yeah. Out of play, so it's 0-2.
And the first 2 pitches have been fastballs, and now he's ahead of 0-2. It means he has a chance to try and bury a slider or 2 down below the zone with the hopes that Barnes will chase. So he may have been pitching for the ground ball early in the count, but now he's pitching for the strikeout.
Oh, 2. Into left field. Parker coming on. He's going to make the catch. Nobody goes anywhere. Nice play.
That's as good as a strikeout. It's an out, and nobody is able to move. A non-productive at bat. Goes with a fastball and an 0-2 count. Jams Barnes, and a nice jump from Parker. See the concentration right into the sweet spot of that glove. Big out.
So Lopez is coming in. When it's time for a change, things speedy. Oil change and auto service, your oil change tune-up and smog experts. We'll be back. Enforcement appreciation night here at AT&T Park. Now you need a special event ticket, and it's going to include a limited edition law enforcement themed Giants belt buckle. And oh, by the way, the Giants will play the Nationals. sfgiants.com/special events for more info.
New pitcher now for the Giants will be the veteran Javier Lopez. 38th time that he has come into a ball game. 13 2/3 of an inning amassed in those 37 appearances. Sidearm delivery, curveball, slider, fastball with 2 types of movement, and a changeup.
And Blackman takes a strike. He's faced Lopez 15 times. He's 3 for 15 with 4 strikeouts. Swing. You're going to miss. Nothing in 2.
2 perfect location pitches from Lopez to open this at bat up. Absolute perfection. And I'm sure Buster Posey would like to stretch it out a little bit wider. Every once in a while, though, Javier Lopez will do something not a lot of sidearm lefties will do, and he'll pitch inside with the fastball to left-handers.
Got him.
Like that.
And that's it. He's done. Blackman sent packing.
Take a look at the pitch that finished things up for Blackman. So he goes on the inside corner. And that's a good job.
Corey Guerin's going to come in. It's 2-0 Giants.
Rockies tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pregame live at 6:30 right here on CSN Bay Area. It is the finale of this 3-game series with the Rockies. Tomorrow, it's going to be Johnny Cueto on the hill, taking on the left-hander Jorge De La Rosa. Plus, you get complete pre- and post-game coverage and Giants insider Alex Pavlovich to boot. All that and more on CSNBayArea.com, the home of the authentic Giants fan.
Two 0 Giants. Here's Corey Guerin.
Look at the body of work that Corey Guerin has had this first half. 40 games, 3-0 with a 2.97 ERA. Over a 3-to-1 strikeout walk ratio, which is outstanding for a guy that can put the ball on the ground.
First pitch strike, very deliberate.
Giants bunch the gaps, give the lines on both sides of the field, play the infield pretty much straight up for LeMahieu.
LeMahieu doubled off of Bumgarner in the third, singled off of Bumgarner in the fifth. Bumgarner did get him on a fly ball to right. He's 2 for 3. Lopez does his job. He gets a huge strikeout.
He did it on 3 pitches. It's even better.
Tapped, tough play. Gillespie's got it, throws, and he throws it wide. And coming in to score is Reynolds, and it's 2-1. Well, that should be an infield hit.
Now Gillespie knew that he had to hurry it. And Kuipers, you've always said how you grab it is how you throw it. And he just pulls Belt wide, and there's no way, not even at 6'5", that Belt can keep those size 16s on the bag.
So here's Arenado. Arenado against Guerin is 1 for 2. So Hundley is at second. And a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike.
This place has gotten very quiet.
Very quiet.
Arenado stepped in that batter's box. Giants fans know all too well the reputation that Arenado has had in his career, doing big time damage to the Giants.
One and 2.
I don't think Arenado is too enthusiastic about that call. He thought this was a little wide. It's a little slider. And you can see his point. But now, if you're Guerin, you got to go wider.
And he's going to extend too. It's 2 and 2.
It looked like Arenado was sneaking up on the plate.
Yeah.
And that's something Buster Posey will see. Hitter does that, he's not thinking about the inside corner. He's exposed.
Deep to left. Parker back. Gone. And just like that, the Rockies have taken the lead here in the 7th inning. Arenado hits his 23rd. And he now has 69 RBIs before the All-Star break.
And he got a gift. Watch the hang and look at the location. I mean, that is an area where the big boys just are not going to miss him. And you knew as soon as it left the bat, it was going to be trouble.
So here's Gonzalez. Gonzalez lifts one out to left for Parker. And that's going to end the inning. Rockies pick up a 4 spot. Have come back. They've scored 4 runs in the top of this inning. And it's time for a change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change tune-up and smog experts.
So Jake McGee, the new pitcher for Colorado, 27th time that he has come in. He was their closer, had 15 saves, and then he went on the disabled list since coming back off of DL. The closer role has changed for the Rockies, but he's had a nice season, 17 strikeouts in 23 innings. You're going to see a low to mid-90s fastball and a hard curveball.
So here's Pagan to lead things off against McGee.
Giants have 27 victories, or they have come from behind this year. And what's significant about that is they had 27 in all of last year.
Well, they're going to have to do it tonight. McGee pitched last night. That would have been yesterday during the day. That's foul. It's 0-2. Giants with 9 outs, and they want to try to make the best of it. Foul back. It stays at 0-2. McGee sees the target is into Pagan, and it's a little low, 1-2.
McGee did not think so. He thought he had him.
Well, maybe he saw the pitch that was called a strike to Belt. See, Ottavino, who's just activated, is now in the bullpen.
Well, we got a little confrontation here. Now they're wolfing at him pretty hard from the Rockies dugout. So to say that Pagan has the attention of the Rockies dugout, I think is a bit of an understatement. Steps out of the box with 1 foot. He's still in the box.
Yeah, somebody must have yelled, swing the bat. Heard that many times. It's 2-2.
Now, one thing about Pagan, if it becomes personal, everything accelerates. And he is into this at bat right now.
And he got him. So Pagan's retired. And that'll bring up Parker.
Well, they're not going to let it go. And now Carlos Torres is telling Nick Hundley, let it go. And Walt Weiss coming out, going to try and keep his catcher in the game. So Pagan not going to let it go. I mean, he is getting a few things off his chest. The Rockies bench getting a few things off their chest. And Weiss does manage to indeed keep his catcher in the game. So the umpire's going to talk about this right now.
Well, Jerry Davis is the crew chief, and he's the one that has called this meeting between the four of them.
Well, I don't even understand what a meeting would even be, what the meeting would be about. I mean, there's just some wolfing going back between. And he put a warning on this.
Yeah, they just did. That's what he said. We're going to warn both teams.
Walt Weiss walking out. He's getting the word. Walt says, okay. The guy was walking away, and then Hundley had a couple things to say on his way back to the dugout, and that lit up Pagan again. And the Rockies' entire dugout was into it. So just a little salsa on the guacamole, you know, add to the flavor of the rivalry. Hey, we got one more tomorrow.
Here's Parker. Parker takes outside for a ball, 1-0. Belt to follow. And a strike. That'll even the count. Parker walked in the fifth. 1-2.
I don't think I've ever seen a warning put on a game for so little. But these guys realizing that they got another game to umpire tomorrow night between these two teams.
A warning when no pitches were thrown inside.
I know.
Parker gone.
A warning for woofing? Come on.
If that's the case, when I was in college, UCLA and USC would have forfeited every game.
So when you were playing at Southern Illinois, those were not good. Those were not good series.
I heard stuff I never heard before. Here's Belt. Belt is 2 for 3. Belt drives one to right, and Gonzalez is there, and he tumbles, and he makes the catch, and that'll end the inning. So we will head to the 8th. It remains 4-2 Rockies.
July 8th is our third Orange Friday happy hour presented by Lagunitas. Your special event package will include admission to a pregame party featuring music from Neon Velvet, as well as your first beverage and a ticket to the game when the Giants take on the D-backs. Go to sfgiants.com/special events for more information.
Here's Trevor Story. Story tonight is 0 for 3. Giants only have 3 hits in this game. And a strike. On deck is on deck is Christian Adames.
Slider just not working tonight like we've seen it work the last 2-3 weeks. It's really been a good pitch for Corey Guerin. And it was a slider that he hung to Nolan Arenado that turned this game around for the Rockies, and now they have a 2-run lead because of it.
Out of play. It's 2-2.
Garrett has a changeup. We just don't see him use it a whole lot, especially the righties. The righties is pretty much fastball slider. And when that slider's not working, then it's going to be pretty much fastball, and that's what the Rockies are sitting on right now.
Lifted out to Williamson, who's coming in. He dives, and did he do it again? He did. He's taken 2 away from Story tonight.
Well, these are not easy plays. I mean, we saw the exact same play yesterday. Completely lays out, goes parallel to the ground, and comes crashing down on his chest, and winds up putting it right in the pocket of that glove. He's getting some chances to put on a defensive show, and he's been making these plays.
So here's Adames. Adames hitting at 220. 1 ball and no strikes. And he takes low and away, so it's 2-0.
Adames has good speed. Mark Reynolds on deck, chalking up. Manny Modian up. Generous strike there. Manny Mota came up with a gum stick 40 years ago, and it's like a staple in every on-deck circle around baseball.
Foul back and out of play. Not quite sure what you would use it for outside of a baseball game.
Well, unless you're cutting down trees.
Three and two.
Yeah, I can't think of another use. You take the gum stick and you just kind of put it on the handle of the bat. It gives you a great grip. I mean, it's a great product.
Three and two to Christian Adames. And the walk. Let's check in with Amy G.
All right, gentlemen. Well, Nolan Arenado, he's tough for the Giants, that's for sure. But there is an Arenado that everyone can get behind, even Nolan, and that's his brother Jonah, who plays for the San Jose Giants. He's a first baseman, and get this, last night San Jose Giants take on the Modesto Nuts, of which Arenado's cousin Josh Fuentes plays for. So it was a family affair. Nolan picked up his mom Millie. Get this, he was able to rent a car because he's now 25 years old. The highlight of his night, he got to see his brother, his cousin, his mama, his aunts, and Big Brother took everybody out to dinner, guys.
Beautiful. What a 4th of July. So Reynolds is in with Strickland getting loose in the Giants bullpen. It's 22 pitches now for Corey Guerin. Two balls and one, or make it 1 ball and 1 strike.
Just pounding the knees with that sink. Trying to get that ground ball to get out of this inning.
Not close. 2 balls and a strike.
Meanwhile, back to the cotton candy bag. It's all smiles.
I can't share mine. You don't like banana.
That's better than the Manny Mota stick.
Absolutely.
Cotton candy.
Two balls and 1 strike.
What do you think? First date?
I don't know. I don't know. Feeding your date is something you do on your first date.
Well, cotton candy. That may be the exception.
Runner goes. Tapped slowly. It'll be Crawford charging. And another infield hit. So here's Hundley.
Now batting, number 4, Nick Hundley.
Well, Giants fans don't seem to miss a whole lot. And that's going to be it for Guerin.
So Strickland's coming in. Giants trail 4-2. We'll be back. It's been a long 7th and a long 8th. Hundley singled off of Contos in the 7th inning.
Numbers for Strickland in his 40th game that he's come into. Made the high 90s with the fastball, slider, split. Only 1 for 3 tonight.
Out of play, no balls and 1 strike.
98-mile-an-hour fastball just to introduce himself.
And a base hit into center field. Pagan's going to get to it. Rounding the bag is Adames, and this throw is going to be cut off. So Hundley with a base hit, and it's 5-2. So that'll bring up Barnes. Barnes will hit. At second base is Reynolds. Hundley's at first. So 4 runs in the 7th and now a run here in the 8th. And Barnes fouls this one, and it's no balls and 1 strike.
A little anger behind that fastball at 99. Hunter Strickland did not get beat on the fastball to Nick Hundley. He threw a slider in the outside corner.
Here's the 0-1. Tap foul, 0-2. Giants really do need to keep it close if they have a shot here with 6 more outs. And the fastball is high. Story led the inning off with a line drive to right that Mac Williamson dove and took a hit away from Trevor Story. But then Guerin walked Adames, and then an infield hit, and then the base hit by Hundley. This is hit out towards the gap. Parker's going to dive, and he can't hang on to it. It rolls away from him, and the bases are going to be loaded. So Barnes with a base hit.
And almost a spectacular play from Jared Parker as he cuts this gap off, lays all out. I'm not sure how much glove he got on it. Hit him in the wrist.
Indeed it did.
But hey, a nice play just to keep a runner from scoring. And here comes the top of the lineup.
So here's Blackman. Blackman is 1 for 4. Swing, ain't gonna miss. No balls and 1 strike. Blackman laying in the bushes on the first pitch.
Yeah, he was thinking 99, that slider. Blackman not an easy guy to double up. He's only hit into 2 all year. And that's 276 at bats.
Pulls this one on the ground, foul. So Strickland jumps out in front quickly, 0-2.
Eric Young making a play.
Eli.
Rockies first base coach.
Giant for, I don't know, about what, 2 months?
Yeah.
2003.
Long enough to know that he's a good guy.
And a base hit to right field. So that's going to knock in one. And the bases stay loaded. It's now 6-2. So the Giants right now cannot get off the field. And this is sending people to the exits.
Well, you know your pitcher's angry. If you come out there and you're Dave Righetti, you just have to calm down a bit, start talking about the situation, and then you start talking about the scout report. I mean, everybody knows how they want to pitch LeMahieu, the pitches that you have to make to get him out. But when you're upset as a pitcher, you overthrow. When you overthrow, you lose command. For Dave Righetti, sensing that this is a do or die. I mean, you can't be going much deeper in the deficit column to this team. Not with the way that their bullpen got better today when they activated Adam Ottavino. Giants have their hands full, down 4 runs, and they do not want to go down anymore.
Here's LeMahieu. LeMahieu has 3 hits, including an infield hit in the 7th. 1 ball and no strikes. Hundley, Barnes, and Blackman are your base runners. Rockies have lost 6 straight. So you know this one's starting to feel pretty good. Two and 0.
Slider's just not there for him.
And that's foul down the right field line.
Heads up. Guy's looking for it. Bounce back on the field. And the young kid, he got the souvenir. That'd be.
Two and 2.
Well, that's the importance of having a third pitch, though, that you can trust. You can say the same thing about Corey Guerin. You can say about Hunter Strickland. Is that they get the fastball slider going, they kind of ignore that third pitch, that other speed. And nights when that slider is not their friend, they don't have another pitch to really go to other than the fastball. But I think being a reliever, I mean, that's the toughest thing to do is throw another pitch, believe in another pitch, especially when you're having a pretty good season with 2 pitches.
And the walk.
3-2 slider. Pretty good eye right there from LeMahieu.
So Mark Gardner will head down to the bullpen with a reliever. Bruce Bochy really forced to get another person up. I'm sure he did not want to do it. And here's Arenado.
So Derek Law very quickly heading down the pen.
This will be pitch number 16 for Strickland. Strickland did not pitch in the game last night. And it's low. This is the home run that gave the Rockies the lead.
Well, I'm sure it's a slider that Corey Guerin would like to have back. The last thing you want to do is miss up with it. And Arenado in a 2-strike count Made him pay.
And he pops this one up. And Belt will make the play. 2 outs. And here's Gonzalez. Gonzalez is 1 for 4. Swing and a miss. No balls and 1 strike.
That's 2-seam movement on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. And at that velocity, 4-seam and 2-seam fastballs are really different pitches. So that had good movement on it.
Oh, and 2.
Lester says throw that one again, and another 98-mile-an-hour 2-seamer.
Tapped slowly, and that'll end the inning. 3 runs here in the 8th. It's now 7-2 Colorado. Well, check out Sportsnet Central. You're going to hear from the Giants All-Stars. You get more reaction to Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. Pizza guy delivery. Right after post-game live. And Kelvin Ahmed Free. They'll do the honors. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. Your oil change tune-up and smog experts.
So the new pitcher now for Colorado, another former closer, Adam Ottavino, just activated after Tommy John surgery. And that right there is one of the better sliders in the division. It's a good one. The big guy, 6'5", 220 pounds. Big crossover step. It really throws a cross body. And velocity in the fastball before he had the surgery was mid-90s. slider was just devastating. And it's to righties and lefties.
Well, you can imagine Ottavino a little rusty. He's had some rehab innings, but they're not the same as this. Three and one to Buster Posey. Buster tonight is 0 for 1.
But it is an emotional moment when you come all the way back from Tommy John, you get back to the big leagues, and this is that moment for Ottavino.
Three and 2.
A lot of work, a lot of rehab, a lot of doubts. Laying in bed at night, staring at the ceiling if you're ever going to get your arm back.
On the ground to short. 1 out. Well, you see, for Buster Posey, he's made 4 straight All-Star appearances. And as a catcher.
Ties him with Harry Danning, who did it pre-war, 1938 to 41.
So we got a pitching change. We're at AT&T Park, and we'll be back. They just have made a pitching change. It's Boone Logan who comes in to do the pitching.
Take a look at the body of work that Boone Logan has had this first half. 33rd time he's come in. 28 strikeouts in 22 innings against 8 walks. Just 21 base runners in 22 innings. How does he do it? With a fastball, low to mid-90s, and a slider. Good slider. Carlos Torres, plate umpire, coming out there and having a word with Boone Logan.
So here's Crawford. Law getting loose. And a strike.
Well, they got their bobbleheads. They take them wherever they go. Brandon Crawford.
Oh, and 2.
Brandon Crawford is one of the more popular bobbleheads of the year.
Absolutely. Outside to Crawford. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Crawford rolls this one slowly, and Crawford's going to have a hit.
Boone Logan, a veteran pitcher, just had a head spasm. He forgot to cover first.
Spectator?
Yeah, and this is a guy who's in his 9th year at the big league level. So Brandon Crawford says, thank you very much. I'll take the knock.
So here's Tejada. So Walt Weiss is coming out. And we're going to have another pitching change. It's going to be Jason Mott. It remains 7-2 Rockies.
Rockies, we are in the bottom of the 8th inning. There is a pitching change. The new pitcher now for the Rockies is going to be the right-handed veteran Jason Mott. 18th game that Mott has been in. 13 strikeouts in 13 innings. 15 base runners. He's done a nice job. For Mott, you're going to see a fastball that's mid-90s, hard slider, and a changeup. More sliders to righties, more changeups to lefties.
So Tejada steps up with 1 out and 1 on. Giants trail by 5. And it's a strike, and it's 0-1. Still hanging in there, which we appreciate.
Yeah, gamers, total gamers. Got the rally hats on.
Don't think Tejada agreed with that. There's Pena.
He did not. Bit of wide zone out there in the outside part of the plate to right-handers tonight. Man, Mott, just keep going out there. If you're going to get it, see how wide you can go. Mott, 34 years old. He's in his 8th year at the big league level. A converted catcher came up with the Cardinals organization.
Tap foul.
Great story. Catcher with a good arm, just didn't quite have the bat to climb the ladder through the minor leagues, but hey, the good arm. Put a toe plate on him, and he's had a nice career.
Mott holding on Crawford. Crawford probably not going anywhere. Two and two.
Slider just a wee bit outside.
There's Pena. Little guy in the background. You see, I'm watching him up here. He's got an orange sweatshirt on right in those seats by the Ondeck Circle. He's got his own game going. He's taking batting practice. Swing and a miss. And Tejada's gone. This little guy right here.
Yeah.
He was taking BP.
Well, he's got his bat. And he is not tired.
He is not. And look at these. Right, there you go.
That's pretty good hack right there.
Oh, he ran the bases backwards.
All right, here we go. Big Brother's going to throw him an imaginary hard ball. You. Hey, it's a day at the yard.
Clearly, he's got an idea of where the bases are.
Oh, yeah, in his mind, that field is laid out. How psyched was he when he got the bat?
There's a base hit to right field for Pena. Crawford moves to second.
He has swung the bat beautifully tonight.
He has.
Finally found a hole in the outfield.
So now what you try to do is you try to knock it out of the yard and make a game of it. This guy has.
Yeah, he's found a way to have fun. Have a few hits and giggles.
He's a switch hitter. Oh. Mac Williamson is 0 for 2. Low. 1 ball and no strikes.
There's games going on all over the ball yard.
Absolutely.
It's time.
Two and 0.
Yeah, he's got the count in his favor here. And if there's a guy in this Giants team that can get 3 runs on the board quickly, it is Mac Williamson. Edgar Blanco comes out. Would love to get a chance to hit in this inning.
And a base hit to left field. And here comes Crawford. Here's the throw home. Not even close. And it's 7-3. How ticked off is Boone Logan?
You saw a little snappage there in the Rockies dugout when he came out the field. So I have to say he's a little upset.
Made the mistake of not covering first, and it cost him an earned run.
Cost him an earned run without getting it out.
So here's Blanco.
Edgar Blanco working out before the game. He was originally in the lineup, and he was a late scratch. Anthony Reyes, one of the Giants trainers.
Here's Blanco. Blanco breaks his bat, and it's no balls and 1 strike.
Hey, he brought his glove. Make a play. Let's see what this play looks like. You got a man there? Oh, yeah. Nice.
There were two behind him that would have made the play. New lumber for Blanco. You got Pena at second. You got Williamson at first. And a spirited Angel Pagan on deck.
Spirited indeed.
Well, the tying run is in the on deck circle.
Slider is not there for Jason Mock.
It's final in LA. The Orioles beat the Dodgers 4-1.
For the National League West.
Up to date. Two and two.
Generous strike there. Let's take a look at the two-seam fastball. Pitcher strike.
The Orioles, by the way, snapped a 5-game losing streak in that win tonight against the Dodgers. Here it's 2-2 to Blanco. Blanco hits a high fly ball left field. And that'll end the inning. Giants pick up a run. These guys, they all hit to the cycle.
It's brought to you by Honda. We think that Nolan Arenado is that guy for one swing of the bat. 2-1 ball game. He hits a 3-run homer, a 2-strike count with 2 outs, and that put the Rockies ahead. And they have not given back the lead. Player of the game brought to you by Honda, Nolan Arenado.
So Derek Law is the new pitcher. He'll be going after Trevor Story. Then following Story will be the pitcher. But Daniel Descalzo is in the on-deck circle. Rough night for Trevor Story. He's had hits taken away from him all over the place. Off of Buster Posey. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Giants will be back at it tomorrow with Johnny Cueto. Jorge De La Rosa up high, 2 balls and 1 strike. So the Giants will face another lefty. If there's a lefty walking around town, he's going to face the Giants.
Well, it seems that way, but they've done well against lefties.
2-2.
Derek Law, mid-90s with a fastball. Curveball, slider, changeup. He's really been a good add to this Giants pen.
Got him.
Well, Mac Williamson really has been picking on Trevor Story. This is the one catch with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And he takes 3 RBIs away from Story. Then in the 8th inning, he lays out again and takes another hit away. So it could have been a 2-for-5 night. 3 RBIs is an 0-for-5 with a couple strikeouts.
He hit the ball right to the wall, center field. Descalzo, a little check swinger, and he's got a base hit. So nothing you can do about that. It's a base hit for Descalzo.
Well, just kind of a half swing.
My guy, you're my best friend.
Yes. Past the outstretched arm for Brandon Crawford.
Here's Reynolds. Reynolds, a couple of hits. And a strike. So Descalzo at first. Tap foul. Just maybe caught the fingertips of Buster Posey. It's 0-2. Yep, raising them all right as Giants fans.
Raising all 4 of them right. Great job. And they sure are. It's going, Mom.
Where'd he go?
I think they had fun making that sign, too.
Look out. 1-2.
96-mile-an-hour fastball from Derek Law.
Got him.
And he saved it. And that is a slider, believe it or not. He holds the slider with 3 fingers on top of the ball. And it's throwing just like a curveball. I mean, if you look at the rotation of it, it's got more curveball rotation. And that's right over the top. But he calls that his slider. Hey, it's a 2-strike surprise. And Mark Reynolds a victim.
Henley's got a couple of hits and scored twice. No swing on the appeal. 1 ball and no strikes.
Hey, Dave's here.
Dave is here.
Don't mess with Dave.
Foul back. 1 ball and 1 strike. Giants, the last 3 innings have been agonizing. They led going to the 7th, 2-0. And after 6.5, it was 4-2. Two balls and one strike.
Yep. Seagull protection.
Seagulls have got him. Or make it 3-1.
Yeah, you just kind of get used to people coming to the ballpark with umbrellas, and there's not a cloud in the sky. You come to the game, 8th or 9th inning, you're out in the bleachers. You need some help.
So Hundley takes the walk. And here's Barnes. Barnes singled in the 8th inning. He came in as a pinch hitter in the 8th. He pulls this one foul. Actually, that's not true. Barnes came in on a double switch. He lined out to left in the 7th. And then he singled in the 8th.
Nice job. And more security guards.
Foul back. 0-2.
So a little pep talk from Buster Posey between hitters after the walk, and Derek Law, bang bang, just like that on top of Barnes. 0-2. Breaking ball? No, he did not go, says Rob Drake, first base umpire.
One and two. Two balls, two strikes.
Yeah, he keeps dropping that breaking ball down below the strike zone. Barnes, to his credit, is laying off.
Well, even if, lost on how many pitches now? 20?
Next one will be 20.
Now this has got to be a concern for tomorrow night.
Well, that's why it's nice to have a guy like Johnny Cueto going out there for you, because he's been eating up innings at a rapid pace. And because of that, Bruce Bochy will definitely manage differently. There's also three Giants relievers that haven't gotten into this game. Sergio Romo, Santiago Casillas, Josh Osich.
Lopez pitched last night. Law pitched last night. The other three you mentioned pitched last night, but not tonight.
Yeah. Seagull watch.
Got him, and that'll end the inning. Pagan's going to lead things off with 7-3 Rockies. As we go to the home half of the 9th inning, and Carlos Estevez is the new pitcher.
Estevez, the new closer. He's assumed the role when Jake McGee went on the DL. Estevez became the closer, and he's converted 4 of 7 opportunities. He's got the stuff. I mean, you're going to look at a guy who's high 90s. Occasionally, he'll even dip into the hundreds. Hard slider and a changeup. He throws all of them.
So it'll be Pagan, then Parker, and then Belt. And a strike, and it's 0-1. Pagan with a triple in the 5th inning. And a bit outside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Estevez just pounding the outside corner with high velocity.
And a little pop-up out of play. It's 1-2.
Now that's changeup at 90 miles an hour. Give you an idea what kind of arm this guy's got. So Nick Hundley, Angel Pagan, not a whole lot of dialogue going between the two of them.
Out of play.
That was 100-mile-an-hour fastball. A little reach back velocity and a 2-strike count. Kind of nice to be able to reach back and hit a hun.
Kind of nice. Breaks his bat on the ground. And Pagan is retired. 1 out. And here's Parker.
Seventh inning, there's a little exchange between Nick Hundley and Angel Pagan. And it accelerated as the bench for the Rockies got into it. And then when Pagan was walking back to the bench, more discussion. And then eventually a warning was put on by crew chief Jerry Davis.
All good.
But not to be forgotten.
Parker is 0 for 3. And he fouls this one out of play. So Parker out swinging. 2 down. And that'll bring up Belt. So Brandon Belt, who opened up the game 2 for 2. Since then he's struck out and lined out to right. Move the line along, get on for Buster Posey. That's all you can do right now. There's a pitch down low.
That's all you can do. Die hard. That's it.
Belt with a swing. He ain't gonna miss.
Good changeup. So Estevez has all 3 of his weapons working tonight.
And tight 2 balls and 1 strike. Belt hits a high fly ball. And that's the ball game. So game 2 in this 3-game series, it goes to the Rockies, and this is another one of those disappointing losses for the Giants where they had the lead late. And this time they could not come back and tie it and take it into extra innings or even take the lead. So this one is one of those that will wear on you for a little while until you take the field tomorrow.
Oh, you're right. It's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to think about this for a while. That's going to be a very difficult game to leave at the ballpark. It's a game that I think they felt they should have won. But the Rockies snapped their losing streak, and now tomorrow it's rubber match time as Johnny Cueto will try and win this series for the Giants.
Final score, it's the Rockies 7 and the Giants 3. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. Esurance Giants Post Game Live with interviews and the wrap starts right now.